Welcome to Module 3, Scientific Method and the Research Process. In the last two modules, you explored what research is and how different types and approaches shape inquiry. Now we turn our attention to how research actually happens, step by step, with structure, logic, and intentionality. Research isn't just about collecting data, it's about how you collect it, why you trust it, and what you do with it once you have it. That's where the scientific method and the research process come in. Let's start with the scientific method. This method is a logical, disciplined way to answer questions. It's not limited to scientists in labs. It's used by business leaders, social workers, ministers, and educators. The scientific method asks us to observe the world, form hypotheses, test them with evidence, and draw conclusions based on what we find. The goal is to build knowledge that is evidence-based, testable, and repeatable. But theory alone isn't enough. We also need a roadmap for how research is conducted. That's where the research process comes in. The research process is a structured sequence of steps that guides your study from start to finish. While there are variations depending on the field, the general stages are identifying the research problem, what needs to be explored or solved, reviewing the literature, what do we already know, what gaps exist, formulating a hypothesis or research question, what are you trying to find out, designing the research, what method will you use, what tools, what population, collecting data, how will you gather the information you need, analyzing data, what patterns, trends, or insights emerge, reporting results, how will you share what you've learned and with whom. These steps help ensure your work is not only organized but also credible. They allow others to understand, replicate, and trust your findings. Two critical concepts within this process are validity and reliability. Validity refers to how well your research actually measures what it claims to measure. For example, if you say you're studying job satisfaction, are your questions truly capturing that idea, or are they measuring something else, like workload or salary? Reliability is about consistency. Would you get the same results if you repeated your study with a different group or on a different day? Reliable research is dependable and repeatable. This module also challenges you to recognize that the research process doesn't just happen in formal settings. You use it all the time, maybe without realizing it. When you solve a workplace challenge or evaluate a new approach in your ministry or classroom, you are engaging in a form of research. That's exactly what you'll practice in this module's activity. For the research process mapping survey, you'll reflect on a real-world situation where a decision was made using logic or evidence. Then, you'll map that situation to the formal steps of the research process. Here's a quick example. Let's say your team wanted to improve client response times. You identified a problem, delayed follow-ups. You gathered data, looking at response logs. You tested a solution, introducing a new CRM system. Then you evaluated the results, checking whether response times improved. Without even calling it research, you followed its process. This module helps you recognize that structure and use it more intentionally in your academic and professional life. What to do this week? Read the course guide sections on the scientific method and research process. Reflect and respond through the research process mapping survey. Take the quiz to check your understanding of key concepts. You'll need 80% to pass. In summary, understanding the scientific method and research process gives you a strong foundation to approach problems with clarity, logic, and rigor. Whether you're writing a graduate thesis or improving a workflow in your organization, these tools help ensure your work is ethical, systematic, and meaningful. Let's begin.